Good afternoon and welcome to this month's edition of Broker University Webinars. Arizona Realtors is proud to bring you this monthly webinar series designed exclusively for designated brokers and broker owner members to learn fresh insights and current topics and trends from peers. Give us 1 hour on the third Thursday of each month and you will gain valuable insights to make your brokerage and our industry just a little bit more successful. I'm Callie Waterhouse with the Arizona Association of Realtors, and today's webinar is Recruiting and Managing Agents. Today's presenter is Casey Cyga, and Casey has been in real estate since 1988, but we are not going to tell you how old she is. She started when she was like 12, and she was ranked in the top 5% of agents in sales in California back when she first started out. She's been in management for over 17 years as a manager, as a trainer, as a designated broker. Casey is currently the 2015 president of the West Maricopa County Regional Association of Realtors. We call it WEMAR. And she's a professional standards committee member here at AAR. And if that is just not enough to push our industry forward, Casey also is an office here locally of over 485 agents. So I'll tell you folks, if she is the go-to person for today's topic, she is the go-to person. Casey's presentation today is going to be 40 minutes, followed by a 15-20 minute Q&A. And then at the end of today's webinar, a feedback survey will come up on your screen as you exit. Please just take like 2 minutes, answer those 9 or 10 questions for me, and just know how much we appreciate you being here today and for the interactive webinar that you are about to attend. And folks, please know that we do have quite a few questions and polls coming up in today's webinar, so be kind of thinking ahead and just hold on to your hats. Casey has so much great information that she is about to be sharing. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over and welcome Casey.
Thank you, Callie. I'm exhausted just listening to you.
I'm excited.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm fortunate to be here, and there's some areas I want to cover today through this webinar. And I want to be talking about qualities of recruiters, ways to recruit agents, attributes to look for when recruiting agents, and finally, once we get them, what do we do with them? How do we train them? I've heard over the years, and I hear it quite often, that recruiting is a numbers game or it's a contact sport. Well, you know, part of that is true, but the reality of it is it's about people and relationships. Let's look at some of the qualities that we find in good recruiters. When I started recruiting, of course, I didn't have training. I kind of had to figure things out by myself. And then I started reading books or going to some of the national trainers and picking up along the way. So over the years, I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect, but we really strive to be the best that we can be. First of all, let's look at great communicators. They know how to speak to their recruits and to adapt to various communications. They're listening. When you're listening, sometimes we have a tendency to kind of interrupt in the middle of someone telling us something. Listening, we have to listen twice as much as we speak. And you have to be able to adapt quickly depending on who you're talking with. Your adaptability can shift your approach during an interview. If you are rigid and it's hard for you to shift, you're thinking maybe it's difficult for you to recruit. Another trait that they look at for good recruiters, top recruiters, is your honesty and your integrity. The thing that I feel when you're recruiting for agents, give them all, don't overpromise something that you can't deliver. We all want recruits, we all want to hire, but we need to be really, really careful. Are they the quality people that we want? What are we looking for in them? And we'll talk about that in a minute. And do you feel sometimes our industry sometimes suffers from perception problems, how they see real estate agents? We must at all times conduct our business with the highest integrity and honesty, treating others like we want to be treated. Next quality, I think, is your relationship building. You need the desire and the skills to build relationships effectively. We expect our agents to go out there and build these relationships so that they can build their databases, so that they can become top producers. We have to have the same qualities as a recruiter. Another one I think that we fall short of a lot of times is our time management. Sometimes we get wrapped up just doing busy stuff, when in reality we should be doing stuff that produces results. we must be judicious with their time and our time. Know how to shift priorities during the day. Be productive instead of just busy. Another one is your motivation. Know what keeps you motivated. Is it the win that I can hire all these people, or is it the win that you're hiring quality, or is it the win that you're building relationships, whether you hire those people or not? How do you keep yourself motivated? This can become a very tedious, if you're recruiting all day long, you get tired. And, sometimes it's just, I don't want to hire this person. I don't want to do any more interviews today. Keep yourself motivated and just have something that you lean on to know when you're going in to recruit someone that you're at your peak, you're at your highest. Knowledgeable. Do you know what you're recruiting to? Do you know what you offer through your company? Do you know all your applications? Can you come across that, gosh, you're fabulous and great, even though we know we all aren't. We do have our little corkers. But what's your knowledge in the industry? You're going to be asked these questions. I think a real important one to me is a positive attitude and your passion. Do they see that you enjoy what you're doing, that you believe in what you're doing? That's so important. If you sit there like, oh yeah, I hired whatever, but if you're there and say, let me explain to you, God, this is a career that you can make as much as you want. You can do whatever you want. You're going to ride your own time. You're going to be an independent contractor, and I'm going to help you succeed to get to your financial goals. I mean, you need to let that come through, that you love and have a passion for what you do. The last thing I want to you're looking at the screen there, is your persistence. I think persistency is a big thing when it comes to recruiting. 9 times out of 10, we do not recruit the top recruiters that we want right up front. We have to kind of wine and dine them and call them and do all the wonderful things that you have to do. But on your persistencies, most successful recruiters know how to be persistent without crossing the line. You rarely recruit the ideal candidates the first time around, so you have to follow up with the appropriate time frames, have the right temperament, and a clear message. Persistence can pay off big if it's done right. If you come across as pushy or disingenuous, and you lose your credibility and your trust, and you kill your reputation. So be persistent, but in a caring and sincere way. Now, moving right along here, I think as brokers out there and those that are doing the recruiting, you understand the difference between agents versus employees. Your workers are most likely employees if you control or direct not only what is to be done, but also how it is to be done. So if you look up there, the IRS has 3 criteria: behavior control, financial control, and type of relationship. So if we can control how they do the job, their time, their employees. Your workers are probably independent contractors if you only can control the result of the work done, not the means and the methods of how it's accomplished. So there's a big difference here. When it comes to managing, which we're going to talk about, how much control do we really have over our independent contractors versus if we were in a corporation and this is your job to do, this is how you're going to do it. That's an employee. Independent contractors, unfortunately, like I said, we don't know what's gone wrong until it's gone wrong. So we're not calling them every day. We're not looking over their shoulders. They're pretty much driving their own careers, and they are the independent contractors, and we just hope and pray that they're out there doing it right. Okay, so, okay. Let's take a look at 8 ways to recruit. And I'm going to ask some questions in a minute on recruiting. Over the years, I've learned that good recruits, I've found, are teachers. Teachers that have been in the recruiting industry are great. Persistent, present the local schools. To recruit people, you can go into schools. You can go into all the schools, be one of their affiliates or their approved partners, however you want to look at it. Go into the new people that are getting their license. Obtain a school list so that you can send emails out to the new recruits introducing yourself and what your company has to offer. You can join networking groups, set up drip campaigns on your computer for when you search the MLS for the top quality agents you're looking for, or maybe just middle producer agents that you want to recruit, and be able to move them up to top producers. Hold career opportunities. I think career opportunities are something that we don't do a lot of, to where I think as brokers we can have our own career opportunities to where we can inundate a community looking to join a new career or to start a new career, come see what it entails to become a real estate agent, and then have a career night. Tell them the ins and outs. Tell them that it's a lot of rejection. Tell them all the things that they will have to do if they want to get into this industry. You can recruit off your acquaintances, people that you know. And the last one I want to talk about here, your best recruiters are your current agents. If you've hired them, not overpromised, you've delivered what you told them when you recruited them, you're good to them, you're encouraging them all the time, you're there to support them all the time, your agents can recruit agents for you like there's no tomorrow. So that's your best recruiters, your current agents. Do we have a question?
You were going to do a chat box. Which attributes?
Okay. Looking at the next slide there, top attributes to look for when hiring. I found, and I mentioned it earlier, I found best recruits if we want to hire people are school teachers. I mean, they have the structure, they're flexible, they know how to deal with different personalities with their children, whether they're kindergarten or up through 12th grade. They seem to be trustworthy and honest and have integrity. Those are criteria that we look for, the attributes when hiring. How do you know if someone's honest? Everybody says we're honest, we're professional, we have integrity. Yeah, we really don't know until we get them in the position. They can tell us everything that they want, but once we get them in there, you find out how they work because you're kind of monitoring your agents as they go along. You see who's producing. You know if you're going to have complaints. You may hear it from other agents, or you may hear it from another broker may call you, or another agent may call you. It's great at agents calling other brokers. I get them all the time. Tell me how terrible this is or what's happened. But there's always two sides to every story. And I find a lot of times that agents kind of bump heads. Are they reliable? Are they diligent? Are they proactive? Where did you go that extra mile for your client when something happened? You know, are you there? Are you teachable? Are you flexible and open-minded? Things happen. Things will change. Your clients are going to change their mind on you 100 times. And can you handle that? Can you just kind of flow with it and change gears quickly? Do you adapt to change quickly? And also, I think the attributes that you look for when you're hiring is their level of commitment and their desire. Do you see that desire, that passion? Why do they want to do this? I mean, if they say, yeah, I've always liked to look at houses, is that really a good reason? Or they say, you know what? I feel that in this career, I can be good at it. I've watched people over the years. Whatever this is, you have to probe. Get them to talk to you about why their commitment is here. What is their desire to believe in this? Now, the next point here is one of my favorites. Are they going to be full-time or are they going to be part-time? I can go on and on and on about full-time. We love full-time agents, of course, we all do. But part-timers. And I want to poll and ask the audience or the listeners, what is your feeling about part-time agents? I will tell you that we can't cut them off because part-timer could mean, oh, well, I just work a couple of nights a week in a restaurant, but the rest of the time I'm free. I can come to training. You know, the goal is, can they train? Can they attend sales meetings? Can they keep themselves abreast of what's changing in the industry? Now, that to me would be someone that I would probably consider to hire because they can come to their training and they're available a lot of the times. But somebody that has a 9-to-5 job Monday through Friday, can't come to training, I'm not so keen on. And I'd like to ask the audience out there, how do you feel about part-time agents?
Okay, so because this is kind of a multi-answer question, we're just going to use the question box feature. So if you'll let us know, what do you think of part-time agents? And then we will share your answer. So just so you know that we are going to be sharing your answer with everybody. But what do you think, brokers? Do you hire part-time agents? Are they a benefit to your brokerage? Do you just stay away from them? How do you feel about part-time agents? Okay, well, Jamie says it just depends on their drive.
Okay, good. That's a good one.
That is a good one. And Susan says she's open to part-time only if they have the ability to come to training and are looking maybe to transition from one industry to another.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then Larry says not always up to speed on legal issues. So do you think there's more liability with part-time agents?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely there is.
Okay, and John says he's not a fan of them, but he does have a couple of them, and he insists that they have training and a mentor, which is something else I think we should do a webinar and maybe some mentor training. Yeah, and Evan agrees with Susan. Thank you, Evan. So it looks like it's kind of a 50-50. Yes, it just depends on the person.
It depends on the person, and also it's what we have to think of and be open-minded about is, what does the public think of us overall? I mean, do they think we're like used car salespeople? I hear this, and I hear it in class when people say, oh yeah, they think we're, and it's not to put anybody down, we're less than attorneys, we're below used car salespeople, whatever. So looking at full-time versus part-time, are we really hiring to the industry to be the best that we can be by having full-time agents? There's a lot of things that we'll be covering here that we'll be discussing in a minute, but let's move on now. And thank you for your input. I appreciate that. Okay. We talked about the top attributes of hiring. Now what? Now let's say that we've hired. Now we've got all these people we hired. What are you going to do with them? How do you start new people out that come to your company, whether they're experienced agents or whether they're brand new recruits? I think it's extremely important when we bring things in, and I talked about cleaning up the industry of our reputation with the general public and how they foresee us. I'm a firm believer when we bring them in, the first thing that we should hand them is Code of Ethics. Ask them to read it, to understand it. Let them know that this is their Bible. This is what you're going to be striving for, to be the best that you can be in this industry. You're holding a real estate license. It's a privilege to be able to do this. You are representing the public. We want a great image out there that realtors are the cream of the crop. We watched the National Association put out the advertising that they do. I mean, they spend a ton of money. Find a realtor, find a realtor. I'm sure you've all seen those on TV. And yet, when you ask some people, what do you do? It's like, oh, I sell real estate. And it's like, oh, yeah, okay, that's good. Wouldn't it be wonderful if someone asked us what we did and we said we sell real estate, and they said, oh, my God, I just have to have you. You're knowledgeable, you're experienced, you're trained. I see these ads on TV, find a realtor, find a realtor. Wouldn't you love to have that? Wouldn't you feel great about carrying a real estate license and how proud you would be to think, God, they think I'm professional. So I take this industry serious. I believe that everyone strives to be good. I don't think people agents set out to get in trouble, but it happens. So when you're bringing agents in, do you have a sheet that lists the first things they have to do? Joining your boards, getting into zip forms, any applications or things that you have, how to enroll in them through your system, the accountability that you're going to have, how you're going to be held to a higher standard, what coaching do you have, the one-on-one coaching, the guidance and the motivation that you can give. We all know we can't motivate anybody that doesn't want to be motivated. How are we going to hold them accountable? We don't call them at 8 o'clock in the morning and say, you're out there selling. How do you hold them accountable? What do you expect of them? We can't expect anything of them. We can suggest or recommend that they come to certain trainings, but how do you keep them wanting to come to your sales meetings? Do you offer meaty sales meetings? Do you have them every other day? I prefer to have them once a month and do risk management as well as bring in good speakers. These are type of things you have hired. What are you going to do with them? Okay? When you're sitting at the table with them, not only your code of ethics, but your policies and procedures. Okay? Have them go through that. Have them sign that they've read your policies and procedures. Your company culture. Every office has a different culture, and I think that strives from the management within that office. I'm a hugger. I hug everybody. Once I've even interviewed them and they didn't come with me, I still hug them, but that's just me. I just want to be me, and I think it's very, very important that you show your true colors when you're recruiting and not try to be somebody else or something that you're not. Cooperation. We want them to understand that how important it is to cooperate with other brokers and other agents when they're out there. That you have an open door policy. And my open door policy, and this is just me, is, and I'm crazy, I tell my agents you can call me from 6 in the morning to 11 o'clock at night. I will pick up my phone. My goal is to help you. Your goal is if you have questions or you think there's something going wrong, please call me. Don't hesitate to give me a call. It doesn't make any difference. I'm going to do my job. You just live up to what you're supposed to be doing. Make sure that you celebrate special holidays and agent successes within your offices. Team playing and support to other agents. Fun and positive work environment. You know, when you want to go into an office to where not people are uptight. Have you ever walked into places to where you think, oh my God, this is like, you know, the walls are all white. This is not the place for me. Or you going in to hear people laughing and having fun and whatever. You got to keep things on a light level. Your agents are out there. They're feeling the stress of it. This is a high rejection business. Keep things fun for them and positive. Consistently recognize your agent's efforts and successes. These are things that they need to understand. I think the most important thing on this is, excuse me, you have to encourage your agents. There's nothing better. Training and information are very helpful, but nothing helps others grow like expressing your belief in them, especially while they remain uncertain themselves of what they're doing. So I think a good recruiter, a good management, which we all have to recruit because we're the managers, I mean, a lot rests on us on how people are going to look at us. We're not going to win everybody 85% of the time. If you can get those people to come with you or recruit whatever, don't worry about that other 15%. Not everybody's going to like and love you. I've learned that over the years. Okay? And another thing I want to leave you with here, and then I'm going to open it up. We have another question I'd like to ask you is accessibility. Make sure you are accessible if you tell your people you're going to be there. Okay? Be yourself. Show who you are. I'm the type of person, I set the standards. You've got to set the standards within your office. The expectations. I expect you to get your paperwork in. Once it's signed in 72 hours, I expect this. These are the basic expectations. Make sure your renewal hours are done on time. Make sure your company fees are paid. Those are your expectations that I need you to follow through. Other than that, what do you expect out of me? Ask each agent, what do you expect out of me as your manager? And then you can ask them, what do you expect out of me? We can't manage every individual the same way. We can set our standards that everybody has to live by, and these are the standards within the office. But as far as handling people, there's different personalities. You're going to treat people a little bit differently of how, if you have to talk to them about something, they kind of went astray or whatever. Maybe somebody that you can say, hey, you messed up, let's correct this. Or maybe if somebody's a little bit more sensitive that had people cry because I had to tell them something. It happens. People are human. They want to succeed. Our goal is to make sure we're back there encouraging them, giving the help and support that they need at all times.
Very good.
Okay. The last thing I want to leave you with, there's a couple questions. We had a couple questions, Kelly, that I had asked.
We did. Well, we wanted to ask about a specific recruiter.
Oh, yes. Yes, I want to ask you, do you hire a recruiter or do you do your own recruiting?
All right, so we're going to put the poll up on the screen, and it is, does your company have a recruiter? This is one specific person hired to do the recruiting. Yes or no? We're just going to give you a couple of minutes, and if you would just let us know. So far, it looks like yes is the answer. No, it's not. We'll see. All right, so we'll give you a couple of minutes and see how this goes. Casey, one of the questions that's come up that we're going to be addressing here in a couple of minutes is how to keep a new recruit, because once they get their license, they have all these different companies that are talking to them and showcasing and featuring, and sometimes they make a decision and then they recant the decision and maybe go for a different brokerage. So that's one of the questions. We can talk about that in a minute, just so you know what's coming up.
Okay.
All right, it looks like 88% said no. They do not have one singular person doing the recruiting. So that is pretty incredible. So thank you very much for that. And let's see if we can get back to my screen. All right, so Casey, go ahead and go on. So 85% said no.
Okay. If 85% of you say no, how have you learned to recruit? I mean, it's just by doing it, reading books, or do you go out to the national recruiters and see what is the best way to be recruiting? What are my skills? What do I need to really, really be able to persuade people to come to work for you.
Right. So on the screen, folks, you're going to see another question. And what type of training did you receive? Did you develop the skills on your own, or did you receive formal training for recruiting agents? Sometimes it's just learn as you go, baptism by fire, as they say. And sometimes, we reach out and go for some national training. Is there an opinion?
Well, I was just thrown into it many years ago, and I didn't have any formal training, and I would just sit and ask questions. So why do you want to do this? I mean, it's just all the basics. And then I realized that I have to develop some skills. I got to learn to communicate. I got to understand to read the person I'm recruiting with. I got to look at what are their needs. I've got to talk less and let them talk. I've got to probe to get them to talk to me. And a lot of times your conversations can turn into personal conversations, and they start telling you all about their life and this and that, and that gives you more ammunition to probe a little further, to ask questions off of that. So,
all right. So the results for this poll are overwhelming, and it kind of seems like maybe you're all in the same boat. 94% said that they developed their own skills. So
that's awesome.
That is awesome. But that tells me that people are really
committed to what they're doing.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Very good.
And the nice thing about it is that you know that you're developing your own skills, and we're all teachable. We can't know it all, and every interview is not going to be perfect. Believe me, I've blown some interviews and I could just kick myself, but that's the reality of it. We are not perfect. The thing that we look for, and I want to bring this up, and it's a numbers game, which I mentioned earlier, but then I said it's really not a numbers game completely. It's about people and the relationships that we build. So we got all these people, we hire them and we bring them in, and we find out that some of our recruits just aren't as ethical as we thought they were. I'm not afraid to let agents go, and I think that in this industry, we need to clean up our respect that we have from the public. So as a recruit, I set my standards high for my agents, but I live up to what they expect out of me as well. And if I see somebody's going astray, your reputation, not only for you, but for the agents, your other agents in your office, and your reputation for your company are set by the quality of agents that you hire. And quality, I don't want just quantity and just have a lot of numbers. Even though I do have that right now, I think if you talk to my top manager, who is my DB, he'll let you know that I'm not afraid to let people go if I find out that they're just not within our culture or not living up to the standards and the expectations that we set when we hired. I don't know how y'all feel about that. If you just want to slap numbers on and hope that they make some money for you, or if you're really trying to look for quality agents. And what about, I wish that we would have more of, if I let someone go because of some unethical things, call another broker if they want to be hired by you. Just ask the broker, is that person rehireable? All they have to do is say yes or no. You're not violating anything. You're just checking to see, what happened, not really what happened, but are they hireable? That just tells you there. If they say yes, you're good. If they say no, then probably a reason. But keep your standards high of what you expect and try and hire quality.
Quality is good. Well, thank you very much, Casey. We are going to open it up to questions at this time. So if you have any questions for Casey, just put them in the question box feature and we will address them now. Let's talk about using a new recruit, maybe to another brokerage. You've just hired them. All the paperwork is done. Is there anything you can do as a broker to protect them a little bit, or cocoon them?
I just love them to death. I hug them to death is what I do. No, you're going to have those that think the grass is greener on the other side. And it's reality. There's people out there that'll promise you the moon, and I'm going to give you all these leads and whatever. And I've had people come back to me say, well, it wasn't what it's supposed to be. And that's when I talked about being honest up front. Give the agents that you're recruiting what you have. Don't overshoot yourself, because you will lose them. So I think the reality of it is the agents are looking for, do they like the management team? Do they like your office? What's your reputation out there? I mean, these things are all important. That strives, a lot of that comes from the agents that you already have. So trying to keep agents, yes, agents do leave for what other reasons, but, and I'm not trying to be, egotistic about this or whatever, but our company doesn't really lose a lot of agents once they get with this. They know what we're constantly cutting edge, giving them new applications, giving them things that can help them to generate their own leads when they don't have to go out and buy leads. So we're trying to stay abreast of everything for the agents because it's their business. They drive your company. And driving your company means they have to be productive, which means they should be good, and they should be out there representing your company in a good light.
Okay, thank you. And then do you think that offering a startup package for new recruits is a good idea, giving them business cards or signs or anything like that? Is that a recruiting tool that you would recommend?
Yes, every now and again we do it. I don't know if just buying business cards and giving them that is everything that's going to really bring an agent over. I think it's more than that. I think it's what do you have to offer that agents actually get. It's not buying their cards. I feel that if you're in this business, to be in this business, you can afford to buy your cards and you can get your signs and stuff. We'll give you everything else. We'll give you applications that don't cost you anything. We'll give you the training that you need. You have the support that you need. And that's what agents are looking for. Train me, teach me how to do it, and get out of my way. Let me make money.
Okay. And you've been recruiting agents for a while, Casey. Can you share with us maybe 2 or 3 of like the questions that you ask them that you always ask, maybe delving into their personality a little bit, but can you give us a glimpse
I can give you a few things. The first question I ask is, tell me about yourself. Give me some background of things that you've done before. And that really opens up a lot, and you can piggyback off of that. I also ask them why they chose real estate. Do they understand what they're getting into and what it's going to take to get to where you want to go financially? And I also ask them, can you carry yourself for 6 to 12 months if you don't do anything up front? Okay? And I think that's really important. I also ask them, can you handle rejection? This is a really high rejection industry, and you have to be able to, not take things personally. But you may be working someone, you're going to get a lot of, and we've heard this over the years, you got to get 99 no's before you get 1 yes. And I don't think agents are really trained up front, or they don't go to it. We don't have a class, which we need to have a class for people that are looking to get their industry. That would be your career opportunities. And tell them what this industry is all about, how this industry works, what they have to do, how they're going to have to generate their own business. What's really required. You are an independent contractor. We don't hold taxes. We don't do any of this. We don't babysit you. If you want to take a month off, you can. But the reality of it is it can be a tough business if you're not trained properly in how to do it.
Yeah. I have one friend who's a recruiter, and when they first sat down to talk to a new recruit, they would always ask, what kind of car do you have? And, if they responded with, oh, I have a 2016 Mercedes convertible SUV, blah, blah, blah. And it seems like the more detailed they got into their car, you would eventually get to the part where I don't want people in my car.
Yeah.
And it would be like,
and so, okay.
Well,
well, I don't go out and check the cars. I just ask them, do you have a car? Is it clean?
So they're not using Uber all the time.
Yeah, right.
So it seems like a great deal of new licensees look for leads versus training. Mm-hmm. What do you think? If you had to kind of scale them.
If new agents are looking for leads, we got to get them out into the field. We got to get them into open houses. We've got to get them doing something that's going to be productive for them. Handing them leads, they don't even know how to call on them. They don't even know how to recruit yet. How are they going to land something what they don't know? So you're going to give me all the leads? Well, leads to me, if agents say, well, I just want to come to your company because you're going to give me leads, then they're not in it. They're not the type that has the personality that's self-starting. They can do this on their own, that knows what it takes to generate their own business. They're relying on other people to help them and feed them the business. So I'm not a staunch believer when they say, yeah, we're going to give you all these leads. Are they scrub leads? Not scrub leads. Mm-hmm. So you're going to hear that on both sides. 50% will say, yeah, we'll give them to you, and 50% you don't. I believe that if you're going to get in this, you're an independent contractor, you're going to generate your own leads.
And what about training? On a scale of 1 to, oh my gosh, I can't believe we were talking about this. Mm-hmm. How important is like the new training when they come in, you've hired them, and that they come to training, and what kind of training are we offering?
It's extremely important. If they're new agents, I stress it right up front. You will be trained. That's one of my standards. You have to get through our training course. It's extremely important. They're being coached as they go through their training. You're also available while they're going through training. I mean, if your agent if someone doesn't want to be trained, why would you hire them? Why do you want that liability out there? You don't want that liability. I want to know that you've gone through the training, that you've written contracts, we've sat down together, we've coached you, understand things. When you have the questions, come back. But training is the key in this industry.
Absolutely. Now, when you're talking about training, are you talking about training just like brand new agents to the whole industry, or are you talking training for any new agent to your brokerage?
New agents, both. We're talking both. New agents to our brokerage as well. If we have experienced agents coming in, of course, we're going to take them through the steps of what the company expects and so forth, the sales meetings and we have advanced classes that experienced agents can go to. So we have both.
So you kind of have a checks and balances.
Yeah, you got to keep your experienced agents motivated as well. They need to be fed information and attend meetings and what's going on. So yeah, there's for both sides.
For both sides. All right, and then we're almost done. So if you could give 3 pieces of advice for broker owners, recruiters who maybe are brand new, that need to get out there and start recruiting, what would be the top 3 things you would tell them?
For new recruits, for new managers getting ready to recruit, talk to people that have done it for years. Ask them what mistakes they've made. I've made a lot of them. What mistakes they've made, what you would do, just the 3 things. Talk to those that are out there. Go to some of your national trainers, read their books, look at things like that, and practice with friends or people that you know on recruiting. Practice makes perfect. Watch yourself in the mirror. Do you come across sincere? Do you not come across sincere? There's just so much out there that you can pick up. And the things that I hit on today for when you're recruiting, for your communications and listening skills and adaptability, those all come from your top trainers. And that's what they say make great recruiters.
So listening, doing, talking, not being afraid.
Having that integrity and that honesty and being yourself. Don't try to blow things up that aren't there.
And follow through.
That follow through.
Don't
build the relationships and your be persistent. And consistent. Persistence and consistency.
Well, that sounds good. Well, thank you so much, Casey, for being with us today and for helping us understand the whole realm of recruiting. I think it delves a little bit deeper than kind of what some of us think, that it's relationships, it's talking.
It is. It's people. It's people relationships.
It's all
is
about
what you're
people.
Building. Yep, it's all about the people.
Well, great. Well, thank you so very much. And just to let you know, we have 2 upcoming Broker University webinars in July and August. July, Holly Esslinger will be joining us. We're going to be talking about office policies and procedures. I know, very exciting stuff, but sometimes, you know what, we get off the beaten path and we need to know what we're supposed to be doing. Holly's going to be sharing some tips and tricks and organizational skills that will help us all be better brokers and broker owner members. And then on August 20th, Mike Mumford is going to be joining us, and we're going to be talking about audits and compliance. And if you haven't been audited yet, just wait, you will be. So Mike is going to be joining us. He's going to be talking about the 6 processes needed to keep your property management files compliant and audit ready. And then AAR has great educational opportunities. So in addition to AAR's webinars, also offer classes here locally at AAR, as well as at your local association classrooms throughout the state. And for a complete list of events, please visit aaronline.com/calendar. You will see that we have classroom, education webinars, and now we offer remote classroom opportunities. For upcoming GRI courses, you can visit azgri.com. So thank you so much for joining us today. As always, today's webinar has been recorded and will be available on our website, aaronline.com/increased knowledge webinar archive. And if you have any questions, please let us know. We look forward to seeing you again in July. Thank you so much, Casey.
Thank you.
And have a great day.